Hello Wastelanders! Be prepared to make some progress on your commitment issues because today's video has us talking about a mod that you will become attached to. And of course, I'm talking about none other than the Degeneratedak attachment pack. The attachment pack was nearly 2 years in the making, and I will just end the suspense for you folks. It was worth it. It brings sweeping, performance-balanced, lore-friendly, aesthetically friendly additions to virtually every vanilla weapon in Fallout 4, and I am already addicted. Because it's like I'm meeting all my favorite weapons all over again. I get to fall back in love with the weapons of Fallout 4 like it's the first time. Let me show you what I mean. Take a look at a cast of familiar characters. We'll start with one of the most well-known. This minigun here, it looks pretty normal, but this is actually a brand new barrel. There are many, along with things like heat shields and damage shields that look amazing. This is the Overseer's Guardian. You see some differences, right? I promise to show you all these in action soon. And it's easy to get caught up in how this stuff looks, but actually it adds so much to the game. It helps you specialize weapons. It doesn't make them OP, it just helps you kind of dial them into exactly what you need them for. Flamers like Sergeant Ash now can have several different nozzles and tanks that make him like 3 different kinds of weapon. This unassuming auto pistol has 4 chambers on the auto barrel and a 3-way splitter on the muzzle, but these are all very well balanced additions to its options. Look at the Gauss rifle. This is the last minute. It looks pretty different, right? That's because it can act pretty different if you need it to. There's even a fully automatic version. Here's your old friend Spray and Pray, looking pretty sharp and working like the SMG she was always supposed to be. And there's so much more to show you. Here's Final Judgment. Gatling lasers are always fun to fire, but this thing's cool looking attachments make it a whole nother kind of weapon to use. I love it. And as we come inside the shop, those of you who've been playing the game a while, you already see how many changes there are. New stocks, new scopes, new clips, new silencers, new barrels. That's a gamma attachment on a laser musket. It's one of many cool things that you can put on a laser musket now that make it relevant again. I'm so happy about that. This Institute rifle looks like this. How long have Institute rifles needed to have like some different looks to them? And here we get them all with vanilla type textures. It works so well in the fabric of the game. I think pipe weapons might have some of the most immersive new attachments of all, and they make me want to use them again. They give the pipe weapons new purpose. It's so great. This is an assault rifle. Do you see what an assault rifle can look like now? And it works really well. It might be my favorite new heavy weapon, if you can believe that. And down below it is Righteous Authority, a familiar, a favorite with a magnetron on the front that makes it shoot projectiles instead of beams. That's just a taste of what's different. And I hope you're getting excited for all the customization you're going to do to your old vanilla weapons to make them feel new again. There's a 10mm rechambered as a 44 with a drum mag, a laser sight, a stock. I really don't think I'm overreacting to this. This is amazing, right? Have you ever thought gamma guns should be cooler? Well, now they are. This one's got 4 dishes. You can have extra ammo. You can have it have a plasma attachment. But on all the weapons, all the new options come with strategic compromises. I really like that. This shotgun, that violent legendary effect, that's tough to tame, but I picked things that specifically worked on recoil. They weren't perfect for everything, but they were really good at recoil, and it helped me make that a more usable gun. Now, you know there's a lot I don't have on display here, and I can't show you all of it. There are so many new ammo types for the Fat Man or missile launchers, for example. But here, let me go through my inventory and show you some of the things in there. My Instigating Advanced 44 pistol, look what we can do now. New scopes, new barrels, new stocks. I feel like Lee Van Cleef and a few dollars more. And if I needed a sniper type weapon and I only had 8.6 pounds to spare, guess what I could be using now? Radium rifles have about 1 million new options. I kept this one mostly the same, but as you can see, I still picked a new stock, a new barrel, a new magazine. Even though I tried to keep this very much like the kiloton radium rifle we know, it's still different. And the lever action rifle, another Far Harbor favorite, also has new options. I didn't pick any of the ones that would change its appearance very much, but you can see new barrel, new muzzle, new scope, new stock, and yet they all look like they belong in the game, and they don't transform this into some other different overpowered gun. They just let me fine-tune which attributes I want to emphasize. And speaking of changing which attributes to emphasize, how about a fully automatic Gauss rifle? Check this out. This thing has the stats. I haven't even fired it yet, but I am really intrigued by the idea of an automatic Gauss rifle, aren't you? You're probably already a fan of the handmade rifle, but now there are more directions to take it in. I picked a bunch of attachments that add to stealth, and that came with penalties like range, weight, accuracy, and I think it should. How cool to be able to roleplay or tailor a weapon to a specific play style now. Just a little more, just a little better. So we're here at the shooting range to try a few of these out. We'll start with the kiloton radium rifle. We'll just see what I think of the new attachments. So far so good. Ooh, I really like this scope, and it fires with a lot of stability. Next, let's try our old friend the Deliverer. That's right, that's what you're looking at here. In fact, I should probably show this to you up close and personal, shouldn't I? Because now you can turn the Deliverer into the Enforcer from RoboCop if you want to. So, of course, that's what I did. And look at what a beast it is. 127 fire rate, and it's not even an automatic. Amazing, right? It's not perfect everywhere, but I love it. This lightweight, these cool new attachments, I'll probably be using it on all kinds of builds. Laser sight on the handle? Yes, please. Oh yeah, this one might just make it into my regular loadout. I usually don't put a scope on the 44 because they buck so bad, so let's try this out. Yeah, a little better with the stock on it and the heavy barrel. Another one I'd like to try that might have some kind of subtle changes is the lever action rifle. Oh yeah, actually that's a lot steadier. That is a lot steadier, I like that. Okay, yeah, I could get some use out of this thing. You know what we gotta try now. Our fully automatic Gauss rifle. Oh, this thing's got some kick. Oh my god, it wants to walk just up. I bet it's the muzzle. It has this electrified accelerator muzzle on it, and it doesn't exactly brag on the lack of recoil, so I bet that isn't helping. I'll have to keep tinkering with the fully auto Gauss rifle, but I'm glad. A lot of thought was put into these attachments, and I'm glad that we have to choose our combinations carefully and, you know, think through it a little bit. That's more rewarding. Now let's see if I chose right with the problem solver. How's this thing perform? Laser sight is nice. I like it. Little green dot. Whoa, rock steady. Hello. Yep, everything you like about a handmade rifle, just maybe a little more. Time to find out what DAC has done for the humble 10mm. Let's see, this one's still 10mm chambered, fully auto. Wow, it has never fired quite this smooth for me before. It's probably the stock. Those do make a big difference. Wow. Amazing. This happens to be an explosive 10mm. That's why it is doing that downrange. For our next one, we're going to do a side-by-side. I've been so all about the Enclave-specific versions of the plasma rifle that we're going to test the new attachment pack version against the Enclave version, because we can't put these attachments on the Enclave versions of the gun. So here's the Enclave X9 Revenge. It's essentially a freezing plasma rifle with the Enclave stat boosts on it. A little bit lower ammo count, but a lot higher damage. Now, the attachment pack version is also a freezing legendary effect, so I could do kind of an apples to apples, but with some of the new attachments, including an accelerated automatic barrel that has lower damage numbers but a higher fire rate. So here we go, a lot more ammo capacity, really high fire rate, offset by the lower damage numbers. I like it. And I really like these carry handle sights. It's a cool look on a plasma rifle. That's great. Now let's take a look at what I've been able to do with Overseer's Guardian. Whoa, 80 rounds. And yeah, it jumps around. It's a two-shot. It's got some jump to it. It's a little hard to keep it on target, but it's manageable. Well, at least at close range, it's manageable. And with a drum magazine, it's a lot more viable. 40 rounds used to go away too fast, and a combat rifle's damage potential was typically a little low. So you needed more rounds in the magazine just to finish somebody off, and now you can have them. I think we've solved one of the combat rifle's problems. Okay, we're on to another classic spray and pray SMG style. Let's see how this goes. Really smooth. Oh, spray and pray, you've never been so good. Oh, but spray and pray, you do still damage my allies and get me in trouble with this settlement. Looks like we got to come back when these guys have chilled out. Since we have a couple minutes to kill, let me show you something. This attachment pack changes your game from early game all the way to late game. It's applicable everywhere. Look at this pipe revolver pistol. You have new rechamber options, shotgun receiver, 308 receiver, and the shot count is based on how many shots they think would actually fit in the cylinder of the revolver. So they did really put a lot of thought into it. In the end, I went with something like this in a 308 rechamber. I really like it. If this was an early game weapon, I would treasure it, and it would look really cool. Speaking of cool, I have to show you some of the options for the Western revolver. It has some grips that look amazing, and look at this barrel. I was talking about being Lee Van Cleef earlier, but that barrel would make me Lee Van Cleef. And yes, you can put a stock on this gun, but that's not the best part. Take a look at these grips. Rad Staghorn grip. Deathclaw grip. Now that'll get you some style points. And some improved bash. Now that the settlers have cooled off, let's get back to the weapons testing. This is an assault rifle. It looks so much better. And look at this, box ammo, 150 count. Look at the fire rate, 374. So that's higher damage, higher accuracy, and higher fire rate than most miniguns out there. So if it shoots half as good as it looks, it might be my new heavy weapon of choice. Yes, that was as good as it looked. It just sat there in one spot and fired so steady. Do you see this? I'm not even making it do that. Maybe it's all the weight, because it does weigh a lot. Okay, I'm kind of in love, you guys. The scope's doesn't have the best visibility I've ever seen, but I mean, there have to be trade-offs, right? Yeah, I'm kind of loving this gun. You might see me using it in future videos. Now for our next test, I am prepared to be pleased because pipe rifles aren't that impressive, but here we have a pretty cool looking design. I just love all the options, all the pipe gun options. They just kind of fit the whole pipe gun aesthetic. They use the right textures, they use the right metals. This one looks amazing, but you could build one in so many ways. Thank you, Dak and Pig, for putting so much thought into this. And as I'm firing it, yeah, it fires pretty smooth. This would be a really user-friendly gun. An early game, when you don't have the perks to put the attachments and mods on the higher level weapons, usually you're stuck with pipe guns that you can level up, and some of these attachments really make it worth it. This gun's using 45 caliber rounds and it has a 224 range. That's pretty useful in both counts. Next up, let's take a look at what we can do with an Institute rifle. Now, I picked a set of attachments here that decreased its fire rate but upped its damage. It's called a super automatic barrel, and the tactical stock seems pretty cool too. It uses vanilla textures, but it still feels special. Now, when I roll out the Buff the Institute video that I'm gonna put out for you guys sometime soon, you're gonna see that there are a lot of Institute weapons to choose from, but if you want to just kind of stick with mostly vanilla style options, at least the attachment pack gives you more to play with. This was fun, and because this pack uses so many vanilla textures, it doesn't have the biggest download size ever, and you may see it on console soon. I would love for it to show up on PlayStation, but that's always a bit of a stretch. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that everybody can enjoy this thing, because what a nice addition to the vanilla game it is. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to look at some heavy weapons. What do you say? Here's Sergeant Ash, the Flamer, and you can probably already see that the damage is a little higher on it with this pilot light nozzle and this heavy napalm tank. There are other options available that can turn it into an actual napalm sprayer where gravity affects the fire, and also where you can turn it into essentially like a heavy incinerator that lobs flaming balls at the target. I think I'm going to have to try out the napalm one at some point, but for now I kept it as a regular flamethrower just because I don't have too many of those in my inventory anywhere. Next up is the good old minigun. My only legendary minigun is this Poisoner's minigun. You can see that it has a shrouded barrel, and that gives it better damage and accuracy than the regular barrel, which I think we can all agree the minigun has been needing a little bit of love to help bring it into the end game, and this just kind of helps a little bit. Notice the recoil control's pretty good with this barrel as well. But if you want to forego a little accuracy and, you know, this admittedly pretty nice sight right here, you can opt for some other attachments, including a damage shield. And I have to show you what this looks like because it just makes the minigun look so badass. See, I initially built the minigun with a reflex sight, which is nice, but if you want to take off the sights, you can put on a ballistic shield. This thing has improved damage resistance and it looks really, really, really cool. It even looks pretty cool to shoot through. Check out this angled sight it has. I mean, is that fun or what? Way to go, Dak. But if there is a star of the minigun, Gatling gun, heavy weapons show here, it's final judgment with these attachments, supercharged barrels, and a magnetron muzzle. It turns it from beams into projectiles, and it looks freaking awesome. You want one, don't you? I thought so. Next up, let's check Le Fusil Terrible. A violent legendary effect on a shotgun, has a ton of kicks. So I picked attachments that specialized in recoil control and per shot recoil, and we'll just see if those can tame this thing a little bit into usability, especially in full auto. Yeah, it's jumpy, but I think we're going to call that a win. And before we wrap this up, I have one more bit of immersion for you. There's a mod called Randomized Attachment Pack Vanilla Guns by Kairosfateweaver that I have attached the link to in the description of this video, and that adds all of these attachments to the vanilla guns in the leveled list throughout the Commonwealth for you. Having that extra bit of immersion is something that I've been enjoying, and I know you'll enjoy it too. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, and if you want to see more of my content, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything, because I've always got more exciting stuff in the works. In fact, I probably better get back to doing it. So later, Raiders, I'll see you in the next one.